What if 30 days was enough? What if you could completely change the trajectory of your life in the next 30 days? Not because you suddenly figured everything out, not because you started working harder or hustling your ass off, but just because you made one decision and you actually became the woman who made it happen. You became this next level woman that you've been dreaming of being. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So you're in the right place. Hello, friend. Welcome to the Identity Glow Up podcast. If you want to learn how to level up your life, upgrade your identity, grow your confidence, and learn how to mix a little bit of the woo with the hustle, then you're in the right place. And if this is your first time listening, hello, my name is Paige Harper. I am your host of the Identity Glow Up podcast, and I help ambitious women align with who they were created to be and attract the life that they were meant to live with ease, with joy, with fun. And a word that I've been loving recently is iconic. So we are going to make you an icon, my friend. We are going to make you iconic. Okay. That is what this podcast is all about. That is what I'm doing in my life. That is what I'm doing in my client's life. And so that's exactly what this podcast is going to bring you. And if you want to become even more iconic, if you want to go even deeper into manifesting your dream life instead of manifesting the same boring shit over and over and over again in your business, I am actually hosting a free masterclass tonight. If you're listening to this on the day that it drops, which will be Tuesday, August 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern, with my amazing, incredible coach, Mikayla Jai. And it is called the Hot, Rich, and That Bitch Masterclass. And we are going to teach you how to become just that hot, rich, and that bitch in your identity and your energy, all of the things that you need to do in order to start actually manifesting things that you actually want instead of like random, like front row parking spots and a green light instead of a red light. Like all those things are great. They're fine. But that's not what you're wanting to manifest. You're wanting to manifest something so much bigger. And we're going to tell you exactly how we've done that in this free masterclass. So in this masterclass, you're going to learn the hot, rich, and that bitch formula to manifesting content growth and new clients effortlessly. I will say Mikayla is like the queen of content. So you know it's going to be epic there. The secret reason why you're manifesting the same shit in your life and in your business over and over and over again. Why your next level identity is stuck in your journal and it's not like manifesting in real life. It's not coming true in real life. It's just in the journal. And also how to stop disrespecting yourself and sabotaging your success. So it is going to be so juicy. We just had a 90-minute call. I don't know what kind of call you would do it, like an overview, brainstorming, something like that call. We had that last week. And oh my gosh, I thought it was gonna be like 30 minutes. No, we couldn't shut up because the things that we have manifested, the way that our life has changed, and obviously I'm just getting started in this process over the last year or so. And she's been in it for, I think, 8 years that she's been teaching manifestation. So our stories are going to vary, but it's incredible. The things that can happen when you learn how to step into this hot, rich, and that bitch identity and you learn how to fully embody this hot, rich, and that bitch energy instead of allowing it to continue to fizzle out when things aren't going your way. So, if you want to come to that free masterclass, if you're listening to the day that this drops, it will be tonight. The link will be in the show notes, or you can go to mine or Mikayla's Instagram, and which is my Instagram is also in the show notes, and just ask for the link, and I can send that to you as well. If you're listening to this after the fact, there may still be a replay available depending on when you're listening to this. So just go and reach out to one of us, and there should be a replay link as well. Promise you're going to want to be there live though. If you can be there live, you're going to be there live because the energy, when I recorded a podcast with her a couple weeks ago, or I guess it was a couple months ago at this point, like we couldn't shut up. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like when, as of right now, there's over 100 women that have joined us in this masterclass that have enrolled. And so it's going to be freaking epic. Like this is a manifestation for me within itself. So in so many different ways. So freaking good. But let's dive into this topic that we are talking about today on the podcast. So, first of all, about changing your life in 30 days, right? So, first of all, you need to know and you need to also believe, you need to know and believe in your heart and your soul and your gut that your life can change, not just in 30 days, but just from like a single moment. Like one single moment, one single day, one weekend, one week, one month, 1 year, like your life can change at any particular time. And we dramatically underestimate what can happen when we stop waiting to feel ready. We feel like we have to be ready in all sorts of different areas in our life and in our business in order to take that next step. And so we're like, oh, well, I want to be a millionaire. So I need to feel ready to be a millionaire. And then you're like, well, I'm nowhere close to a millionaire. So I can't do XYZ yet. We aren't in this identity. We're not in this embodiment of who we're becoming, who we need to be at that millionaire level. And so we don't feel ready. And so then we don't take any action. Then we're in this negative energy. We're in this negative headspace. But you don't need 5 years to become a completely different woman. You just need a single decision. Just one decision can literally change your whole entire life. And I have so much proof on that, even in the last year, but especially in the last month or so. One decision has done things to change my entire life. One decision to go to the VIP trip in Florida with my coach. One decision to upgrade to the VIP dinner that was actually supposed to be someone else was supposed to have that dinner and she canceled last minute because she couldn't make it because of the time and all of that. One decision on my part could have changed did change everything for me, and not making that decision could have made it a whole different outcome. So what I've seen in my old self as well as my clients is that most people approach change as there's a lot of buts. I want this, but I want more money, but I want to grow my business, but I want to be confident, but I want to leave my job, but there's always a but afterwards, and the buts have got to go because the problem is that wanting, and it shows proof in that those sentences I want this, but the problem is that wanting isn't deciding, because if you were deciding something, there would be no but afterward. It would just be I want this, and I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go get it. I'm going to become this person. It would be an and, not a but. And there's a huge difference between the I want this and this is who I am now, right? And you can have the I want this, but it needs to be accompanied by and that's who I am now. Of course, I'm going to get it because that's who I am now. I am this person that goes and makes this happen, not, but I don't have enough time, but I don't have enough energy, but I don't know how to do this. But there's no way that someone like me could be able to do this. But it's these constant excuses. And you know how I feel about excuses. It's these constant excuses that we give ourselves because our brain would rather keep us safe. Our brain would rather keep us small. And I know this even happens for me, investing in myself. Oh, I really, really feel drawn to this. I really feel drawn to this program or this mentor or this one-on-one opportunity. But what if it doesn't work out for me? But what if I don't have the funds? But what if I don't make the money? But I don't have the money right now. It's this constant negativity that's coming from something where our soul is pulling us towards something. I have something right now that I actually want to invest in. And I'm but, right? And at this point, I know I'm going to invest in it. I have full faith that I'm going to invest in it. It's just, I need to just make the plan for it, right? Which is very masculine of me, but I'm learning to be more in my feminine, okay? I have some masculine energy tendencies, but I'm definitely learning to be more in my feminine, listening to my gut more. And that's what I am going to be talking a lot more about as well. But for me, having this point where it's okay, I know what I want, and now I'm going to go get it, and now I'm going to become this version of me that has that. Instead of being but I can't, but I don't know. We have to go into say what we want, allow ourselves to listen to our gut, listen to our intuition, which is essentially what God is telling us that he wants for us. That's our intuition. That's our gut instinct. That's what God's pointing us to that direction, or your higher power, whatever you believe in, is pointing us in that direction. And so then when we do those things, whether we're investing in ourselves or going after a dream or taking action or whatever, we're doing that in full faith. Because when you do something, even if you're okay, I want this, but XYZ, but I don't know that it's possible, but blah, 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 whatever the excuse that you give yourself, right? When you're doing that and then you're okay, but I'm still going to take action. That but is still in your mind. That thing that came after the but is still in, how many times can I say that in this episode? That is still in your mind, which means you're probably not taking action out of faith. You're taking action, even though you're taking action despite the fear, which is great, except you're still having some judgment behind it. You're still having some negativity behind it. And so when we go into, especially things like investments, for me, this is what I've had to do. When I go into something that's an investment, for instance, I have to look at it and be you know what? I am doing this. Yes, it's scary. Yes, I'm about to shit my pants from hitting submit when it comes to like paying for something when it's a lot, quote unquote, of money. But like, also, I am fully in faith that like this is going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to. I am doing this out of faith, knowing that I'm going to show up the way that my next level self would show up. That is me. That is what I'm going to do. Right. And so when you decide, when you take away that but and you fully decide that you're going to act in faith and know in faith that you're making the right decision and like making that decision, it eliminates any kind of negotiation. Like once you've decided, you don't keep asking, like once you actually make a true decision out of faith. True decision out of faith. You don't keep asking whether or not something's possible. You don't need everyone else to validate you or what you're doing or anything like that. You stop making your old identity the authority because think about who's the authority in your life right now, the old identity or the next level identity. The old identity that doesn't believe it's possible, that believes it's hard, that believes you're not worthy enough, that believes you're not worthy of love, whatever. Or the next level identity that knows you're a millionaire, knows you have success and love and abundance and all of the things that you desire. Who is the authority in your life? Because if you're having a bunch of buts, if you're not allowing yourself to go after your dreams, if you're not making a decision, your old identity is the thing that's your authority. And that's only going to lead you to create the same life over and over and over again and have the same manifestations over and over and over again because every single thing that's happening to you in your life is a manifestation. Whether you believe in manifestation or not, it's true and showing you proof right in front of your face. This podcast right now is a manifestation of me dreaming about it, thinking about it, believing it, and then taking action on it. That's what it is. Manifestation is you having like knowing what you want, deciding who you need to become to be that person or to do that thing, becoming that person, embodying that person, embodying the thoughts and the identity and the actions and all of that person has, taking those actions, those aligned actions, which is aligned action in this next level identity is a true embodiment, and then you manifest what you want. You manifest what you are, not even what you want, but who you are. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. I believed that I was a podcast host, and so I manifested becoming a podcast host. How did I manifest becoming a podcast host? Because I decided that that is what I was going to do. I decided I want a podcast. Who did I have to be have a podcast? Well, I had to be someone that was confident, someone who is a podcast host, someone who is going to attract people in to listen to her podcast. What did I have to do in order to be a podcast host? Well, I had to have the belief that this was possible, that it was easy, that I had to get rid of the belief that I'm not good with technology. I had to have the belief that I could figure it out. I had to go buy the mic and I already had the laptop, but go buy the mic, make sure my Zoom stuff was updated because as of right now, I'm doing it on Zoom. I had to get the Spotify. I have my Spotify as my podcast, like the host thing. I had to do that. I figured all of that out, right? I did all of that in the identity of who I was becoming. And now I'm 40, I think this is the 41st episode. I'm almost a year in because I decided, I made one decision after the next, after the next, after the next, and the identity from the woman of who I'm becoming, from this next level woman of who I desire to be. And I think that one of the most powerful things that you can do is decide, just a decision alone, but especially decide that you have potential. Not I hope or like maybe someday I'll be successful. Maybe someday I'll invest in myself. Maybe someday I'll have the podcast. Maybe someday I'll grow the business. Maybe someday I'll find the love of my life. Like no, like know now and decide now that you have the potential and then act. You can say act as if, you can say embody whatever you want to say there that makes you feel the best, that makes you feel the most aligned, but embody that version of you. Right. And I know I used to say act as if, but I've been listening to some YouTube videos recently and they're like, I don't love the term act as if because like act as if is more of like acting is like you don't already have it. Whereas like if you say embody, then like you already know that you're her. Now you're just embodying her. Right. So it's a little bit different. Acting is like pretend, whereas embodying is like you're just doing the damn thing. Right. So either way, whatever feels best to you. But I have like you need to believe that you have saying to yourself, I have the potential and I'm going to find out exactly what I'm capable of. You have to decide that you're capable of more. Decide you're allowing yourself to, or like that you're allowed to want more. Decide to have the audacity. When was the last time that you decided to have the audacity to do something batshit crazy that people on your social media or on in your hometown or whatever, or may think you're crazy for, but you don't give two shits? Decide you have the audacity. Decide you're going to have a different relationship with money. I've been talking a lot about money. I actually just started a new series last week called Millionaire Mind, where I am becoming this next level woman that has the mind of a millionaire. Like I am becoming a millionaire in my mind before I'm a millionaire in this 3D world. And of course, I've already had some men comment on my stuff like, is this a joke? I don't really care. I don't care if people think I'm a joke. I don't care if people think that I'm a weirdo. I don't care if someone in my family or some of my friends or whatever think that like I'm psycho. I don't care because I am determined to have a different relationship with money. I am determined to become a millionaire. I've decided that I'm becoming a millionaire. I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family. I've already decided it. So that's what's happening. And now I'm embodying her and I'm taking you along the journey to embody her. And so that's what I'm doing in my on my Instagram and on my TikTok as well. So if you want to follow along on there, if you're not already following, go over there and follow. But you also have to decide to stop abandoning yourself. Stop abandoning yourself, stop abandoning your goals, stop abandoning who you're becoming. Decide you're going to become the woman who follows through. I know a lot of the women that I've worked with, they have the drive, they have the ambition, they're really passionate, they're really excited, but they have moments where they just follow off, where they don't follow through, where they're not seeing the results right away. So then they're like, oh, well, I guess it's not meant for me. No, you have to decide that you're the woman who follows through no matter what. Even if the thing that you want isn't manifesting right now in the 3D world and like what's happening right in front of you, you have like if you stop now, it will never manifest. It will never come to fruition for you. So you have to decide to keep going no matter what. If that's where your intuition is pulling you, that's where you need to continue to go. A decision doesn't mean you suddenly know exactly how it's going to happen. We're not supposed to know the how. We're supposed to, this is like the part we all get wrong, right? We're not supposed to know the how. We're supposed to know what we want, what we would love to have, and who we need to become in order to get that. You don't need to worry about every single step before you decide. And I know for my type A girlies, like myself, that is probably one of the most difficult things because you're good with structure. You love structure. You want to know all of the things. You want to know the step by step. You want to know like, am I doing this right? Is this the right next step? So that can be difficult, but it's not our job to know exactly how this is going to work out. It's not. And when we over plan on things, that's when we take too much. It's too structured. There's too much. We're not giving, we need to trust. We need to give it to universe. We need to give it to source. We need to give it to God. We need to allow ourselves to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want slash would love to have. This is who I know I need to become. This is how I become her. This is how I'm embodying her. These are the actions I'm taking. And I'm just taking the actions that are guided and that are sent to me like this intuitive hit. I've really been learning to listen to my intuition a lot more instead of just being like, well, this is what everybody else says the next step is. Like, I'm like, no, but what does my intuition say? Because not everything that works for everybody else online or in business or whatever is going to work for you. Okay. You don't need to know every single step before you decide. You have to decide first, and then the path gets revealed to you as you move, usually through your intuition. Like I said earlier, like talking about the Florida trip, my life changed in a day and a half. And I know that sounds crazy to think about, and I know that sounds crazy to say, and I know that some people are going to probably be like, whatever. I don't care. My life changed in a day and a half. When I went to Florida on that VIP trip, which I have never done before, I never flew by myself before. I've never gone to a bigger business like trip like that before. I've done stuff with, I was in network marketing once upon a time, and I've done stuff with them before, but I was never really fully changed by it, if I'm being honest. So I went to Florida essentially for a day and a half. I was there Friday. I was there Friday through Sunday, but Sunday I didn't do anything, right? But I genuinely feel like I came home a different human. And even before that, when I invested in myself and when I started, like, it was a culmination of a bunch of things. Like, I invested in myself in this VIP day, which I had been going back and forth on for a while. I also, around the same time, started leaning more into feminine energy and listening to more YouTube videos and podcasts on feminine energy and watching The Secret and reading The Secret and diving more into manifestation, law of attraction, things like that. And I have had so many comments talking about how my energy has changed, not in a negative way, but like my tone of voice has changed. My decisiveness has changed. The way that approach situations, the way that I show up has changed. And I don't know if you can tell that in the podcast or not, but I feel like I was able to release this mask of who I thought I had to be, who I thought I had to be, and just became who I was, became who I was becoming, embodied who I was becoming. So, and that happened like when I decided that like I was going to invest in myself, and all of a sudden all of this other ripple effect happened. One decision, one decision that I made, one right after the other, and everything changed for me. And everything didn't change magically overnight. I'm not saying that. I mean, is it possible? Probably. But everything didn't magically change overnight. Like I've been putting in the work, I've been preparing, I've been mentally rehearsing who I'm becoming, which is this Paige millionaire Harper that I am becoming, right? Which is really fun because my middle initial is already M. So I'm like, why not? Why not just make it millionaire in my mind? The best way that I can put it is that I Florida itself didn't change me. It wasn't that like a trip to Florida, a random trip to Florida changed me. The experience itself revealed what was already available to me. The decisions I made is what changed me. It wasn't the actual like it wasn't Florida. It was the decision I made to go. It was the decision I made to embody who I was becoming. It was the decision to invest in myself. It was the decision to invest in someone that I knew I love her to death and I trust her so much. And I know that she was going to make this an experience of a lifetime for me, right? I made decisions. I allowed myself to be in rooms. I invested in myself. I experienced something outside of my normal reality. I live in the middle of nowhere in the Midwest. So going down to Florida and being able to be in St. Pete and having this amazing experience, like by the water, even though it was raining the whole time, but like having this amazing experience with girlfriends and all of that, like I don't get that normally. I'm mom at home. I'm mom, I'm pharmacist at home, and wife, of course. Mom, wife, and pharmacist at home. Like that is my identity. And of course, I'm a business owner too, but like my core identity of who I always believed I was mom, wife, pharmacist. So that's the easiest one to go back to. I have done a lot of work and put a lot of work into myself to make myself be the identity of a business owner. But that's still when I'm exhausted, it's that time of the month when I'm moody, when I'm cranky, my identity just goes back to mom, wife, pharmacist because that's the easiest thing to do and that's the environment that I'm in. I'm literally staring at my pharmacist computer right now. My desk. I have two separate desks, one for my life, one for my mindset coaching and one for my pharmacist work. I have two separate desks. So it's still there. It's still present. But when I decided to get in the room, when I decided to travel somewhere else, when I decided to invest in myself, that decision, that's what changed things because it was outside of my normal reality. I saw possibilities differently. I acted differently. I was the oldest person in the room. I was the oldest person in the room, which like is so weird for me because I'm always the youngest person in the room. Like my husband's older than me. I was always youngest in like my class. I was one of the youngest ones in my class. I graduated college. I graduated pharmacy school when I was 23, I think. Like I've always been the youngest one, so to be the oldest one in the room, it was an interesting experience, but it's fine. It was an experience, but I don't know, it was still a great one though. I felt like I didn't have to prove myself. It's kind of awesome being in mid 30s. I'm not gonna lie. But when I was on this Florida trip, I kept thinking like, okay, or I guess it was more like when I came home, right? I kept thinking if I can feel this much different in just like a day and a half, imagine what happens if I get to spend the next 30 days making decisions as and acting intentionally, being this next level woman, being this Paige millionaire Harper woman. Imagine how much different it would be if I showed up intentionally for the next 30 days. And that's actually one of the reasons why I'm so excited about Rich Girl Renaissance Live, which my coach who I went down to Florida with, she's actually hosting a whole conference, and it's a content conference to help you become a content millionaire. And she's so freaking good at content. She has helped me so much over the last year or so. So the fact that I'm going to be learning from her, but also like be in the room with like 100 other women or something along those lines, maybe a little less, to be able to not network. I don't even like the word network in this situation, but be around women who are boss bitches, who are those girls who like are making the money, are like having the influence or like have the influence, all of those things. Like It's going to be so freaking incredible. And I'm not going into Rich Girl Renaissance Live experience and hoping it changes me. I'm going into it already like knowing it will change me and deciding who I'm going to be when I get there. Like I have a whole 30-day Telegram experience that we just started yesterday in for the girls that go that invest in Rich Girl Renaissance Live through the link that I have, which is always in the show notes. So if that's something where you want to learn more, go to the show notes and you can look at what exactly it is. The link is in there, as well as all of the different options. That top tier option, the Sweet Life option, which I believe there's only 4 or 5 tickets left, you get a full on retreat with me. It's my first ever retreat. I'm working with Mikayla to help make it the best retreat I've ever, well, obviously that I've ever done, but like the best retreat that I could possibly do. And I'm just so freaking grateful and so blessed and so excited. The women that are already in the retreat are amazing. And the Airbnbs I've been looking at, holy shit, they're so good. They're so good. But like I totally lost a train of thought there. I don't know where I was going with that. But like I'm already deciding who I'm going to be when I get there. Oh, the Telegram challenge. So anybody who gets my link gets this 30-day Telegram group where we are completely upgrading our identity before we get to Rich Girl Renaissance Live. And we are upgrading our social media, our identity, like embodying this next level woman, like getting prepared, getting our minds and our bodies and our souls ready for it. And it's so good. It's so, even yesterday was just so good. And what I have planned for it, oh, I'm so excited. But you don't get different results by being the same woman over and over and over again, even if you do take different actions. You don't get different results because what ends up happening is you may have a different result right away, but eventually you're going to go back to who you always were. If you're continuing to be the same woman over and over again, the woman that's afraid to invest, the woman that's afraid to show up, the woman that's not, that doesn't have confidence, whatever, you may take batshit crazy actions, but it's always going to come back to you being the woman that you believe that you are. You can have the biggest goals in the world and still be operating from an identity that doesn't match them. So like if you say you want more money, like, okay, you say you want more money, but you're constantly acting in like the scarcity. You're constantly thinking from scarcity. Okay. You say you want clients, but you're terrified of being visible. You say you want to be a leader, but you're waiting for someone else to tell you that you're qualified. You're waiting for someone else to tell you that you're a leader. That's not really being a leader, right? You say you want to be confident, but you're letting every piece of external feedback, which you'll get when you're on social media, determine how you feel about yourself. You say you want to be successful. You say you want to make a shit ton of money, but you're making decisions based on what feels safe instead of what feels expansive. You're basing decisions on what feels safe instead of what your gut is telling you is the next right step. Ultimately, like I love a vision board, but the vision board itself, the goals themselves, they don't create your results. What creates your results is not even just the actions alone. It's the woman who's pursuing those goals. It's the woman who's taking the action. That's what creates results. And what results those are determine who that woman is. Or I'm sorry, what those results are determined by who that woman is. And I found that embodying the hot, rich, and that bitch energy, which I feel like I have been embodying more and more just in different ways, it helps me become the woman that creates the dream results, my dream results, at least. So what does that look like exactly? Like when I say hot, rich, and that bitch, what does that look like? I feel like this is something that's more of, and I had to ask myself this because I just have been saying it. And I'm like, but what is it actually? Right? It's an identity. It's not a cute aesthetic. I mean, you can find a cute aesthetic stuff about it on Pinterest, I'm sure. But it's more of an identity. It's more of an energy. It's more of who you are. When I think of someone who's hot, I'm not just talking about like body shape, okay? Or like face and whatever. She's magnetic. Like people are attracted to her, not just like physically, but like mentally, emotionally. She knows herself. She takes up space. She doesn't constantly seek permission to be seen. She just shows up and she's her. She's seen. She allows herself to be seen. The word rich can mean something to many different people. To me, it's like she expects, my most rich self expects abundance, has a relationship with money that isn't rooted in fear, knows that she is capable of creating wealth and she is willing to invest in herself and her potential because she knows that she is doing it in faith, that she is going to show up, that it's going to change her life, that she's going to do what she needs to do in order to make sure that she gets the results that she desires. And of course, that bitch, which is probably my favorite part of it. I don't know, Rich is pretty good too. But she has the audacity. We talked about audacity earlier. She's bold. She takes risks. She backs herself. She makes decisions. She doesn't need anyone else to understand her. She doesn't wait to be chosen. She chooses herself. She chooses the next step. She makes the decision. And when you are operating from that identity, your whole life and your business starts to look differently. You start creating content differently. You sell differently. You show up differently. You attract clients differently. You make different investments. You make larger investments. You take different opportunities. You expect different things from yourself, and you get the reward from all of those things. Like when I'm watching, there's someone on YouTube that I'm watching, and she talks a lot about manifestation. And when I tell you, she literally sells on every single live that she does every month, but it's not like this big grand thing. She knows who she is. She knows the investment, even though it's a larger investment. She knows the investment. She knows what it's worth. She does not, I don't think she's ever really done a sale. She's just like, here it is. She's her. She's confident. She's like, I know what I have to offer and I'm putting it out to you. Now it's your decision on whether or not you are going to make the fear decision of not going all in or make the embodied decision of going after your dreams and investing in yourself. And I was like, damn. She did, and she didn't even describe it that way, but that's how I listened to it and that's how I learned. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is a hot rich and that bitch woman. That is a that bitch woman, right? And I want to be really clear. I'm not saying that you can put on some kind of like rich girl costume and magically make money. Like this isn't magic. I'm saying that there is an identity underneath the results that you are trying to create. And if you are constantly operating from the identity that created your current results, where you're currently at, you shouldn't be surprised when you keep getting more of the current results that you have right now. The hot rich and that bitch identity for me was a decision, and it gets to be a decision for you too. The hot rich and that bitch identity wasn't something that I found after I became successful enough, or something that I earned, or something that someone else labeled me as, or something that someone gave me permission to have. It's me giving myself the permission and making the decision to be that woman. It was a decision and something that I have to keep deciding. It's not just one decision. One decision helps you create and change your life, but making that decision over and over again, or making upgraded decisions over and over again, is what continues to transform it. The decision also, I know I've been talking about a lot of bigger decisions, but it's not always a dramatic decision. Sometimes it's a decision that you just choose to make over and over again, like showing up, being consistent, asking yourself, who am I being today? What am I available for today? What am I no longer available for today? What would the woman I say I want to become actually expect from herself? It's just making those decisions over and over again. So, with that being said, wrapping it up, for the next 30 days, I want to challenge you to do something. I want to challenge you to stop obsessing over what you need to do. This is a conversation I had with one of my clients yesterday. It's not about what you have to do or what you need to do. It's about what you want or would love to do. So I want you to stop obsessing over what you need to do or what you feel like you have to do, and start paying attention to who you are being. Who you are being. What would change if you decided, hey, I have potential. I'm capable of creating more. I'm allowed to want more. I can have a different relationship with money, a better, upgraded, next level relationship with money. I am the kind of woman who follows through. I don't need permission. I can handle more and more and more. I am ready for it. And showing up and showing proof of that. I am becoming unavailable for the version of me that keeps playing small. What would happen? What would change if you made those decisions? A whole hell of a lot would change. I can promise you that. Don't worry about figuring out the entirety of the how today, because as we talked about earlier, that's not really your responsibility. You go where your gut, where your intuition is leading you. Take the next step. Decide, take the next step. Decide to listen. Okay? Just notice what starts changing when you make the decision and keep moving. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking like, okay, Paige, well, like you told me a little bit, I need to make a decision. Cool. Like, I know I need to become a different version of myself, but how the hell do I actually do that? That's what we're doing tonight, if you're listening to this live, on that free masterclass. In the Hot Rich and That Bitch free masterclass, Mikayla and I are going to teach you how to actually step into the energy and identity of the hot, rich, and that bitch woman that creates different results in her business and like really starts manifesting upgraded things instead of the same boring shit over and over again. I don't want you I don't want you to spend the next 30 days just trying harder. That's masculine. That's not listening. That's just structure. That's just like doing what everybody else tells you to do. I want you to spend the next 30 days, including tonight at the free masterclass, becoming someone different, doing things that the next level version of you would do, becoming or acting as the next and embodying the next level version of you, taking the risks and taking the actions and being in the feeling and the beliefs and all of that of the identity of who you're becoming. You don't need to wait for the results to determine and to tell you that you are hot, rich, and that bitch. Just like I don't wait to become a millionaire to tell myself that I'm a millionaire. You become hot, rich, and that bitch. You become a millionaire. You become XYZ, whatever, whoever you want to become. And then you create results from that. You become that here in your brain, in your identity, in your energy. And then you create the results from that because you're acting from that energy. So that's what we're talking about tonight in the free masterclass. I will see you there. I'll put the link in the show notes. Would love to see you there. Love to hear what you think about it, all of the things. Yeah, and that's all I have for you today. So, if you loved this episode, please make sure you go and share it to your stories with your takeaway, your favorite part, and tag me so I can see that you're listening and I can share it to my stories too. And as always, if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe on YouTube, on any of the podcast apps that you are on right now that you are listening. Follow along. And of course, I would always love a 5-star rating and review as well if you feel called to do so. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. I will chat with you next week and I will hopefully see you tonight on the free masterclass. Okay, love you guys. Bye.